And today, we pick up our discussion from something known as economic batch quantity. Is EBQ model. Economic batch quantity model is EBQ. Economic batch quantity model. And we write this, that this is a model used in manufacturing companies. Is a model used in manufacturing companies to determine EBQ. To determine EBQ. First of all, EBQ is the quantity that can be manufactured. Is the quantity that can be manufactured at the most economical cost. At the most economical cost at a time. At the most economical costs at a time. Full stop. The objective of the model, the objective of the model is to minimize inventory related costs, which are number one, variable manufacturing costs. Variable manufacturing costs, such as materials costs, labor and overheads. Labor and overheads. Number two, setup costs. Setup costs. Let me explain kidogo. These are costs of starting and stopping production processes. These are costs of starting and stopping production processes, e.g., time lost, poor output, etc. Number three, carrying costs. Carrying costs. Right, that these are holding costs. These are holding costs. Another one is shortage costs. Shortage costs. Okay, then down there you write that EBQ model is founded on the same assumptions. It's founded on the same assumptions as the EOQ model. On the same assumptions as the EOQ model. And therefore, the analysis is as follows. Therefore, the analysis is as follows. So you see, reds are to present annual demand. Annual demand. C to present unit variable manufacturing costs. Unit variable manufacturing costs. I to present cost of capital. Cost of capital. H unit carrying costs. Unit carrying costs greater than or equal to CI, greater than or equal to CI. N annual number of setups. Annual number of setups. S fixed cost per setup. Fixed cost per setup. Fixed cost per setup. C, I have said is unit variable manufacturing costs. Unit variable manufacturing costs. I hope, Boro, you are getting that. Unit variable manufacturing costs. B is production rate per unit of time. Production rate per unit of time. Catherine has said R is annual demand. R is annual demand. That's what I've said. We have gotten that. R is annual demand. U is usage rate per unit of time. Usage rate per unit of time. D duration of a production run. Duration of a production run. Duration of a production run. B break between production runs. Break between production runs. Okay, then down there you write then EBQ will be equal to 2 RS out of 1 minus U out of P multiplied by H, and then you get the square root. That is how you write EBQ. N is R out of Q. R out of Q. B is Q out of B. Q out of B. B is B minus U multiplied by B and divide by U. Divide by U. Costs will be R times C as R out of Q times S plus Q out of 2 times H times 1 minus U out of P. So that is what we do when you are in a manufacturing company. It is very close to when you are in a trading company. A company is trading if they buy and sell a product in the same form. But if you buy and you subject a product to a value changing process before you sell it, you are a manufacturer. You are a manufacturer. So in manufacturing, we use EBQ, economic batch quantity. And I've already said the analysis is similar to the one of EOQ. That's why you can see the formulas are very, very identical, except the new element that you have introduced, this one. The formulas are very, very identical. So I want us to illustrate that with a question that is in our handouts. The handouts, there's a question there. Kumbuki ni swali namba ngapi? Let's see. The one that is EOQ. I mean, the inventory questions. Yeah, question number 7. Question number 7 in the handout. Literally for us.
Company has a minimum demand of 10,000 units and runs for 200 days. Production is 125 units per day. Each consumption is 8. The cost of capital is 20%, and fixed cost per center is 3,000. EBQ analysis.
Thank you, thank you. So we are told to do EBQ analysis. Question 7, we are told to do EBQ analysis. Now, in doing that, there are several components that you need to get. One of them is economic batch quantity or optimal production size. You can also call it optimal production size. Optimal production size. And because we have the formulas just up there, I wish not to duplicate, but just to pick the components straight. The first component that you should get is the annual demand. R. In that question, we are told annual demand is how many units? 10,000 units. 10,000 units. The next thing that we need to pick when you have gotten that, is U, the usage rate. Now, the usage rate is not given, but this is how you get it. For the whole year, we are using 10,000. And we are told the year has how many days? 200. It has 200. So that is how you compute the usage rate. So 10,000 divided by 200 is how many units? 50 units. So this is 50 units per day. 50 units per day. Then there is P. P is the production rate. I think it's given of how many units? 125 units per day. 125 units per day. Now, what you should notice here is that P and U must be within the same time frame. C is per day. Because in the formula, we will compare them. So you cannot compare when they are in different time frames. For example, one is per week, the other one is per day. It will not be okay. The next thing that you need to get is S. The fixed cost per setup, you are told is how much? 8 shillings. Fixed cost per setup. 3,000. 3,000. C, the variable production cost per unit, you have your 8. Is that so? And then the cost of capital I is what? 20%. So that tells you your 8 should be 0.2 times 80, which is what? 16 shillings. So your carrying cost should be 16 shillings. So with that now, we are in a position to come here and say our Q should be 2 times 10,000 multiplied by 16. You divide by 1 minus 50, which is divided by 125. Then you multiply, no, this is my H. So here we are multiplying by 3,000. Then here you're going to multiply by 16. Then you look for the square root. So do that and send me the answer. You agree with that? Okay, 2,500. So the economic but quantity is 2,500. So the next thing that you need to compute is called annual setups. Annual setups. So annual setups, N is R out of Q. So this will be 10,000. You divide by 2,500, and this should give you 4. The number of times that we will set up. The next thing is what we call the duration. duration of a production run. Duration of a production run. And B, we have said is given as Q, you divide by P. Q, you divide by P. So our Q is 2500. You divide by P. P tunajua vizuri sana is 125. So that gives us how many days? 20 days. So we will be active for 20 days. Then there comes a time when in the industries you must take a break, even to allow the servicing of the machines and so on. So B is given as P minus U multiplied by D, you divide by U. So this is 125 minus 50 multiplied by 20. You divide by 50. That days. So they will be working for 20 days, then they take a break of 30 days. Just like in a college like this one, under normal circumstances, we work for 5 months. Then we take a break of 1 month. Then tunarudi tena 5 more months, a break of 1. That's the concept. If you look at those guys working the industries, most of the times, utasikia wakisema we are working for 3 weeks, then 1 week we are not working. We are working for 2 days, 1 day we are not working. Me, myself. And the price, even in service industries like in tourism, especially these guys who rely on international tourists, you will find those hotels operate for a particular period of time of the year. Then your time ikisha, unasikia it's called off season. So guys are sent home. Then you are called after some time. The next one now is total cost. Total costs. So total costs, it will be 10,000 times C, which is 80, plus 10,000, you divide by Q, 2,500, times S, which is 3,000, plus 2,500, you divide by 2, multiplied by 16, multiplied by 1 minus 50 out of 125. So that is how we get the compute that. Si hiyo iko sawa? Okay, then I propose that on your own you handle question number 8 and 9. Question number 8 and 9 on your own. Question number 8 and 9 on your own. Just arrange it exactly the way I have arranged here. You will see those things just bringing themselves good. Sasa kutoka hapo, the other item that we need to discuss is called stochastic inventory controls. Methods. Stochastic inventory control methods. And we write that these are methods used. These are methods used where the factors that affect inventory related costs, the factors that affect inventory related costs are random variables. Random variables. First of all, of great concern are demand and lead time. Demand and lead time, because when they change, they create inevitable increase. In holding and shortage costs. Inevitable increase in holding and shortage costs. First of all, there are two main approaches used. One, permitted shortages method. Number two, safety stock method. So what we have noted down implies there are instances where the factors that affect inventory-related costs become random variables. So those factors are the things that we have been highlighting in our formulas. V to come at demand, our R, the cost of capital, the purchase cost, the manufacturing cost, all those things, they can change. And when they change, we are not in a position to foretell with a lot of certainty how exactly they will be. You see, like a class like this one, the way it is, no one can foretell exactly how our demand will finally be, as in exactly how many students will finally come to this class. So it is an uncertain. So how do you make decisions in such a case? There are two methods that, or before we talk of that, when demand and lead time changes, they create what we call inevitable. Inevitable means you cannot avoid it. They create inevitable increase in two costs, the holding and shortage. For example, if your demand goes very high, then you are likely to suffer shortages. In a class like this one, tukipata wanafunzi wengi sana, then we are likely to have a shortage, as in they will not have anywhere to do what? To sit. If again demand goes very low, then you are likely to have holding costs increasing, because umenunua mizigo iko kwa duka, no one is buying, so you start suffering the holding cost. Something else is lead time. If lead time changes, you make goods, you make an order, and you hoped that those guys will bring the goods on Friday, but they bring on Monday, a little bit earlier. When they bring earlier, you incur holding costs. Because according to your logistics, ulikuwa umewaambia wakuletee Friday. Because Friday ndio ulikuwa unatarajia utakuwa umeuza everything. But now wameleta Monday when you have not sold. On the other side, ikibadilika and they delay, you had told them to bring the goods on Tuesday. Because hapo ndio ulikuwa unafikiria mizigo yako itaisha. and for sure imeishia hapo Tuesday morning you have no item. But now these guys, instead of delivering on Tuesday, they are delivering on Saturday. So from Tuesday all the way to Saturday, hauna kitu ya kuuza. So you suffer what we call the shortage costs. So how do you navigate around those two possibilities? So there are two methods that we have noted. Ya kwanza inaitwa permitted shortages. The second one inaitwa safety stocks. So let's start with the first one. Safety stock. Sorry. Permitted shortages. Permitted shortages method. Permitted shortages method. And write that this is where a company runs out of stock intentionally. This is where a company runs out of stock intentionally. A company runs out of stock intentionally. First up. The method is preferred where holding cost is too high. Holding cost is too high compared with shortage costs. Shortage cost, and customers are willing to wait. Stop. Willingness to wait creates back orders. So stop. A back order is a delayed delivery. A back order is a delayed delivery. There are two types. One, fulfilled back order. Fulfilled back order. We explain kidogo. This is where the units a customer is not able to get are noted. The units which a customer fails to get are noted and purchased either separately or together with the next normal order. Together with the next normal order. Number two is unfulfilled back order. Unfulfilled back orders. This is where the units that a customer is not able to get, the units which a customer is not able to get are never noted, and is upon the customer, and never noted, and it is upon the customer to keep on checking. It's upon the customer to keep on checking, and it's upon the customer to keep on checking, restocking of the item. To keep on checking, restocking of the item. Then down there you write that the analysis is done as follows. The analysis is done as follows. So let Q represent, or Q equals next order size. Next order size. Next order size. S shortage units. Shortage units. B annual demand. Annual demand. C note. C note. Fixed cost per order. Fixed cost per order. CH. Holding cost per unit. Holding cost per unit. CS. Shortage cost per unit. Shortage cost per unit. Can you change this to CB? CB. That way. CB. Yeah, I've decided to change because kuna mahali itakuwa pamoja na S, so it can easily confuse you whether it is the sub or the norm. Lakini ikiwa hivi cannot bring any confusion. So CB tumesema ni shortage cost per unit. Okay, then Q equals 2DC naught out of CH times CH plus CB out of CB. S is 2DC naught out of CB, sorry, CH multiply by CH out of CH plus CB. On the fulfilled back order, the cost is DC naught out of Q plus CH Q minus S square divided by 2Q plus CB S square out of 2Q. And fulfilled back orders. And fulfilled back orders is DC naught out of Q plus S plus CH Q squared out of Q plus S plus CB S squared out of Q plus S. So that is what we call permitted shortages, and we have said it is a method you use where, or first of all, it is a situation where you run out of stock deliberately, intentionally. As you sell in your shop, unaangalia the movement of goods, and you can clearly tell by evening or by saa saba ama by kesho hii mizigo itakuwa imeisha. But you are not making a move to order some more. So unaacha inaisha. Or you are already out of stock, but you are not making any effort to restock. That's what we call permitted shortage. So you are aware and you are doing nothing about it. And this one is preferred where the holding cost is very, very high. The holding cost is very high and the customer is willing to wait. A case in point is sale of motor vehicles. If you are a car dealer, there are many ways that you can use to do your business, or there are two main ways. One, you can choose to import the cars, unaweka kwa yard, then the customers wanakuja wanachagua from the yard. So when the customers come to the yard, wakichagua hapo, then you are sure no customer will ever miss the car they wanted. Any customer popping in, they have the car ready. Now, on the other side, you can choose that you will never stock any car in your yard. What you'll be doing, you'll be getting orders from customers. Either they pay some initial deposit or after confirmation of the order, now that is the time you order the vehicle. Na ikikuja, unajua ni ya nani. So on arrival, unapelekea huyo mtu. So in such a case, then you have your customers not getting the cars exactly when they need them, because amekuja kwako kwa yard hakuna gari. So namwambia now you can commit yourself, ugoje for the next 3 weeks, we import the car from wherever, and many other situations. Now, if you take the case of the car, when you have put it in your yard, there are many holding costs. One of them is the depreciation value. Remember, a car being a luxurious item, one of the determinants of the value of the car is the number plate. And nowadays, the government of Kenya requires that the number plate be put on arrival at the point of entry. So hiyo gari ikishawekwa number plate ikiwa Mombasa, ikikuja kwa your yard na ikae for 2-3 months, it will be overtaken by the next series. So the value comes down. And hiyo gari kukaa 2-3 months is not a big deal, because cars are not things that are usually bought frequently by many people. Then, when this car is on your yard, many things can happen. There could be fire, like what we saw sometimes back in Congo. Mtu anakuja anachoma hizo magari zote. Or maybe some guys pass by there as they express their emotions and they throw stones there and your cars are damaged. Or even some guys gave entry to your yard and they steal or they vandalize the car. Now, when you look at it all that, you find that the holding cost of that car is very high. But on the other side, we also have to have customers who are willing to wait. Now, people who buy cars, they are people who are willing to wait. Because on average, especially when it is the first car, someone will have saved for at least how many years? Kama wewe mwenyewe, ukiamua kununua gari, unaona kama utasave miaka ngapi ndio ujibaie gari without the loan? On average 2 to 3 years, 2 to 4 years. You can even give ourselves 2 to 4 years. Very few of us can save in the next 6 months na uko na gari. Hata probox ya 500. Very few of us. Majority of us, yes, Nancy, depending on your salary. So majority of us utakuwa on average to save for 2 good years. That's why if you have saved for 2 good years, you upate hiyo gari. Ukiambiwa ugoje 1 month, would you be willing to wait? Yes. And also bearing in mind, a car is not something unanunua leo kesho umeuza. This is something you have been waiting for, and it's something that utakaa nayo for long. So ukiambiwa hata ugoje for the next 6 months and you get the car of your dream, you'll be willing to do that. And the willingness to wait is also enhanced by the absence of competition. When competition is present, customers have no willingness to wait. Competition creates options. People who have options, they are not patient. But people who have no options, they are patient, either by default or by design. Yeah? And that's one of the things you should try to achieve. In your life, you should try to create as many options as possible. When you have options, you don't wait. And again, when you have options, people cannot misuse you. You are only misused when you have no options. They dictate terms. It is only in 2 areas that you should never have options. Matters your God. So you are told thou shalt not have another. Yes. You are gonna plan B. The other one is if you are married, matters your spouse. Hapo hakuna mambo ya plan B. The so-called mipango ya kando. That one should not be there. But these other things, you should have mipangos. Including hii masomo, usirai tu na CPA tu pekee. Ukimaliza CPA, think of something else. Mambo inafika mahali na honga mwamba unapata CPA is no longer. Like some of us, hii mambo ya corona imetuonyesha mambo mingi sana. Sometimes back I was asking myself, now that I've been a teacher for long, na corona ndio hiyo, shule imefungwa, what do I do to it? Those are the realities of life. Is that so? Yes, they are realities of life. Na si lazima ati corona ikuje. Anything that comes to your life, upate now you can no longer work as an accountant. So can you work as a hotelier? Can you work as an engineer? Can you work as can you go to the salon for the ladies? For the men, where else can you go? What else can you do? It is important you build what? Even your job, create the so-called side hustles. When you have a side hustle, even your employer will respect you because you also don't take nonsense. Unajua kama uko na kitu kingine kando, unajua these guys even if they fire you bado hautalala njaa, hautafungua nyumba. But kama hiyo mshahara tu ndio unadepend nayo, you will be needing. That's all? Yes. That's something you should try to add, especially now that you people are still very young. You should come up with strategies of generating alternative sources of income. As you go by and by, we'll be talking about that. So now my point was where? My point was when there is no competition, people are willing to wait. But if there is competition, people are not willing to wait. Now that's we are operating in a very competitive market. So if you came, wakatulipa school fees pale, tukakwambia asante, now go home, masomo itaanza in September, tutakuita. What would you have done? Bernard, ukasema nini? Nikwambia wewe na nyumbani tutakuita September tarehe 5, ndio utaanza kufunza. No, the issue is how will you react at our reception? At our reception. Utaleta vita sana. Ukidai pesa yako, nataka my money. Na hutasema unatafuta kwingine, but what will be motivate you need the knowledge that as soon as they give this money back to me, kuna shule ingine hata nitasoma leo. Wacha hiyo yao wanasema September. Today I will be in a class somewhere. But can you do the same with Kenya Power? If you have applied for electricity to be connected to your house, wakwambie sasa umelipa ni sawa, wewe enda nyumbani, tutakuja huko kwenu July next year. Can you start there and start saying, bring my money back? You quietly go home and start hoping that they will come that date or even earlier, because hakuna mahali kwingine unaweza nunua stima. So when people do not have options, they are patient. And still on the other side, I know we are in very many types of relationships. That's it. Yes, including the one you have with me, teacher-student. In any relationship that you are in, you should improve yourself such that those other people, they do not have options. They must wait for you. Mtu kama mimi nikiwa mwalimu hapa, I should improve myself in a way that mukisikia Kimani hakuji mnasema tutangoja. But if I'm just any other teacher mnasema hayuko, leta huyo mwingine. So yeah. But you should improve yourself in a way that the people who are in that relationship would be willing to wait for you. Even your employer would be willing to wait. But if you're just any other Tom, Dick, and Harry, ile siku haukuji, what you do can be done by any other person. So akijua hukuji, unaletwa mtu mwingine na maisha inaendelea. Okay, back to so now what else do I need to say? When customers are willing to wait, they create what we call back order. A back order is simply a delayed delivery. Delayed delivery ni where unaenda kwa duka, unapata kitu haiko, unaambiwa give us 2 days, tutakuwa tumeleta. That's what we call a delayed delivery. And hiyo ya kuletwa is called fulfilled. But where they don't care whether you have missed or not, is called unfulfilled. A good example is in supermarkets. When you go to a supermarket and you don't get what you wanted, there is nowhere you write ati mimi fulani wa fulani nilikuja kutafuta hii sijapata, nitakuja kesho kwa umeweka no. It's upon you to decide whether you come checking whether they have stocked all or not. Good. Now, let's read the next question. That's question number what? Question number 10. Question number 10. So question 10. Very neat for us, that question.
The company has an annual demand of 5,000 units with a fixed cost per order of 300. Holding cost per unit is 14 shillings, while profit made by unit is 5 shillings. Evaluate the back orders.
Thank you, that's good. So if you are told to evaluate the back orders, it is simple to compute these two things. Right? Utafute total cost ya fulfilled, na total cost ya unfulfilled. Then we do any as in which one is cheaper. So for you to do that, you require first of all to know these items. B, the annual demand. The annual demand you're told is how many units? 1,200. 1,200 units. The next thing that you need to know is C0, the fixed cost per order. Fixed cost per order will be everybody? 300. The next thing that you need to know is CH, holding cost per order, per unit. It is 14 shillings. And the last thing you need to establish is, or we call it CB, eh? We call it CB. CB, the shortage cost per unit, you have to profit 5. Examples of shortage costs. Sasa hiyo swali mimi nikifikisha hapo nimemaliza. Sindio? So leave a space. Those are the 4 things you need to identify. Ukishazijua ilikuweka kwa hii formula. Uweke kwa hii, uje uweke hapa. So that one I will not spend time doing that. So leave a space of like 10 lines. You do that. When you have left the space, let's now discuss the second method, safety stock. Safety stock method. Safety stock method. Safety stock method. And we write that safety stock refers to the minimum number of units. The minimum number of units maintained in the stores throughout the year to safeguard against shortages. First of all, it is also known as buffer. Buffer stroke minimum stock. Buffer stroke minimum stock. First of all, this method is used where shortage cost is very high. It's very high compared with holding cost. It's very high compared with holding costs. Maintaining safety stocks. Maintaining safety stocks makes holding costs. Makes holding costs and the total cost to increase. Makes holding costs and total cost to increase. It therefore becomes necessary. It therefore becomes necessary to determine. Therefore becomes necessary to determine optimal safety stock. Becomes necessary to determine optimal safety stock. The determination process. The determination process depends on whether shortage costs. Depends on whether shortage costs is known or unknown. Shortage costs is known or unknown. So what we are saying there is a situation where you keep safety stock, some minimum number of units that are kept in the store all through. Na ikitumika moja kidogo tu, you make a very quick move to restock it, so that in the event you have any unexpected increase in demand, no customer will go home without. So they safeguard against shortages. But now, on the other side, as you remember about the assumptions, when you keep your goods in the stores, holding costs will go up, and eventually the total cost will also go up. And remember, we are coming from an objective of minimizing cost. So if you are seeking to minimize, and then hii side nyingine unaanza kuongeza, then you will not be able to achieve your objective. It is at that point that it becomes necessary to ask yourself, what is the most optimal? And the issue of the optimal comes in because of what I said earlier, that when you are in the stochastic, the costs are inevitable. You cannot avoid them. So if you cannot avoid them, then you simply look at what would be optimal. It's just like in the normal language of people, when you hear people say which one is a lesser evil. So all of them are evils, but now you, among the evils, you look for the lesser one. So the process of doing that depends on whether shortage costs are known or unknown. So I want to start with known shortage costs. Known shortage costs. Known shortage cost, and you write that the following additional items should also be known. The following additional items. Additional items should also be known. Number one, annual unit holding costs. Annual unit holding costs. We explain kidogo. Safety stock units. Safety stock units are kept in the stores throughout the year. Safety stock units are kept in the store throughout the year. Point number 2, annual number of orders. Annual number of orders. Annual number of orders. And we explain. Shortages occur. Shortages occur in every order cycle. Shortages occur in every order cycle. Number 3, probability distribution. Probability distribution of demand during lead time. Probability distribution of demand during lead time. Into brackets, DDLT. That's what we shall be using more. DDLT, demand during lead time. That's what we should be all the words. And we explain. Shortages occur during lead time. Shortages occur during lead time. Point number 4. Point number 4. Current reorder point. Current reorder point. Let me explain. Shortages occur. Shortages occur if DDLT. If DDLT is greater than the current reorder point. Is greater than the current reorder point. And below that, I take a formula. Say the current reorder point equals daily usage, times lead time. Daily usage multiplied by lead time. Okay, down there now you write. If the above 5 items have been established, the optimal safety stock is the one with the minimum combined. With the minimum combined incremental. The minimum combined incremental holding and shortage cost. Holding and shortage costs. Holding and shortage costs. Consequently, The reorder point is revised as follows. The reorder point is revised as follows. Andika formula. New reorder point. New reorder point equals current reorder point plus optimal safety stock. Current reorder point plus optimal safety stock. Then down there you write that as soon as the new reorder point is implemented, as soon as the new reorder point is implemented, it becomes current reorder point. It becomes current reorder point. It becomes current reorder point going forward. It becomes current reorder point going forward. Good. Nancy, you're asking whether lead time is the waiting time. It is. So, because lead time is the time that lapses from the point you place an order to the point the order is delivered. The point you place an order to the time they bring the order. It is also called reorder period. It's also called reorder period. Nancy, I hope you have gotten that. Boro, you are asking me whether it is 4 or 5 points, and I guess that is what Bernard wants to raise. It is 5. I said 5. I hope you wrote 5. That's all? Yeah. I'm the one teaching. I'm the one teaching, Boro. I know you have 4, but I'm saying 5. Kama uone 5, wewe andika tu. Sizo zingine unaniamini. Ni mambo mengine nakufunza sinaamini na unaandika tu. So why are you doubting that? So kama uioni hapo utaiona soon, sidari, but tuandike 5. Andika 5.
Let's say businesses get their product by importing. So can it reach a point where they can't do like a full import? They just do a simple shipment and they're using this safety stock.
Courier and shipment. Which one is faster?
The courier is faster, but it's a bit expensive. So let's say they want to do a safety stock and they don't want to do courier. They just want to do C, and it takes maybe a lead time of 3.5 months.
It can be done, but now that will require the first stock you bring ikuwe mingi kabisa. Ikuwe mingi kabisa. Ndio sasa when you use the C, which will take, useme courier will take 1 month to deliver. But when you use the ship, it will take 5 months to deliver. So there is a gap of what? 4 months. So ile ya kwanza, ile mzigo ya kwanza itakuja ikuwe kubwa kabisa, that it will take you for the next 5 months. As you wait for the ship to arrive in the next 4 months, you will not have a shortage. Sasa, But now when it comes to the issue of the safety, there are also other things that you also need to consider. The issue of the durability of those goods, the issue of the warehouse that you have, the issue of the relevance of goods. If you are dealing with goods such as the technology-based items, vitu kama computers, masimu na nini, you know the technology, the designs keep on changing. So you cannot stock your mizigo for like a year. By the time 1 year inaisha, there is a new product in the market. So itakuwa imeisha. Yeah. So those are things that you know. But the key thing, whichever policy you use, ukiwa umefanya mahesabu yako, umejustify. But either way, the cost is not high. Either way. Because there are also instances where you have decided to be out of stock, but this customer comes. And from the look of things, this guy has money. You can even be able to sell, to make a lot of profits from him. What do? You make very quick arrangements. Hata kama ni kutumia ndege, zinaletwa haraka. Because this customer is willing to pay more than will even cater for your ndege, nini, yeah, those things. But the baseline is, whichever approach you take, ufanye mahesabu yako. Is that okay? Now I'm looking for a question. Hata kama hatutamaliza, because I can see we have 10 minutes, at least tuache tumeweka frame. Tuchukulia where tutaachia. Get to November 2015. November 2015. November 2015. So November 2015, question 2B. November 2015, question 2B. So for the interest of time, we will just go straight. The following data relates to Makoreo's limited estimated usage of raw materials for the month of December. So we are told to get the optimal safety stock. Now in doing that, I've said there are 5 things that you must be able to know. There are 5 things that you should know, and one of them is unit shortage cost. Unit shortage costs. Unit shortage costs. Now, unit shortage cost is given in information 1. It is shillings what? Shillings 80. That is given there. There is no computation. The next item that I'm saying you should know is unit annual holding costs. Unit annual holding costs. Unit annual holding costs. Wale mlikuwa mnasumbuliwa na 4-5. Wada hapo inaitwa addition. Haya. In the notes kuna watu niwaambia addition, right? Addition means to add. So 1 + 4 is 5. Number 2, average monthly holding cost is estimated at 10. Now you see we are given 10. This is for 1 month. But our formula requires we go for the annual. And we know annual is 12 months. So that is shillings 120. 120. The next thing that I told you should have is annual orders. Annual orders. Annual orders. So annual orders, ukiangalia information 4. Information 4 Tunaambiwa the economic order quantity for the raw materials is 1600 every 30 days. So that is the one that we shall use to get the orders. Because we know EOQ are the number of units you can order at a time. So if you are told we order 1600 units every 30 days, that means in 30 days we make how many orders? We order 1600 every 30 days. So in 30 days, we make how many orders? One. And 1 year has how many 30-day periods? Yeah? 12. Good. That's how you go about it. One thing you realize here in section 5, it is not a must you use the formula to get the answer. Formula inakuanga more so huku chini mahali kwa graph. So here is more of understanding that you can be able to see EOQ and interpret it without the formula. That's one of the examples. So there are 12. The next thing that we said that we should have is current reorder point. Current reorder point. Na si kila mahali the question will always give you these straightforward figures. There are other times you require to compute. But the 5 things, hakuna kitu hatujasoma in the other whatever. Yeah. Even how to compute the orders. Yeah. So ukipata utapewa, there should be data to compute. So current reorder point, it is not given. It is not given, but we know the formula. Formula inasema ni daily what? Usage. So daily usage, utafanya namna hii. We are told in 30 days we are buying 1600. Obviously, we are buying so that we use. Yeah. So you divide by 30. Divide by 30. You put the daily usage. Then you multiply by lead time. Lead time we are told is what? According to information 3. 4 days. And something, just a minute. You see, the formula says daily usage times lead time. Days is just one of the measures of time. There are many measures of time, including hours, days, months, weeks, years, and so on. Now, we cannot have a formula or the formula for every possible measure of time. So huwa tunachukua just one day, isimamie the others. So what guides you on the time that you use is how lead time has been expressed. So kama lead time is given per day, then you are talking of daily demand. So, lakini kama lead time umeambiwa ni per week or it is given in terms of weeks, then you talk of weekly demand. If lead time is expressed in terms of months, then you're talking of monthly demand. We have gotten that. So give me this figure. Two 13.33. And I told you the other day, anytime you are dealing with units without the map, so you round the map, even if it's a 0.1, or I can a decimal, you should always round up. You should always round up in the EOQ. Then item number 5. So those are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 5 is probability distribution. Probability distribution. Now, in the probability distribution, we will have a table like this. DDLT. DDLT. Now you see, this DDLT is demand during lead time. Demand during lead time. Lakini hii demand yenye umepewa hapa, it is not for the lead time. It is for a whole month. Is that so? Because you are told for the month of December. So you are supposed to take those demands, kama hiyo ya kwanza ni 1440. You first of all divide it by 30 days. Then you multiply by 4. You multiply by 4 so that you get to know demand during those 4 days. Hiyo ndio tunataka. So give me the answer when it is already rounded up. When it's already rounded up, 192. So that is what we shall do. And that means now our second column here will have the probability. So at least this one, probabilities are computed, so we are not computing for ourselves. But if they were not given, you just compute. So this is 0.06. Hiyo ni ya kwanza. We go to the next one, which is 1520. Again, you divide by 30, multiply by 4. There's a minute. There are 3 possibilities. Ikikuja kwa hii table, there are 3 possibilities. The first possibility is where the examiner has given you demand during lead time. So unaichukua tu venye iko. It does not require working. The second possibility is where umepewa demand greater than lead time. Kama hii sasa. It's greater. Hii demand tumepewa ni ya 30 days. Na our lead time ni 4 days. So kama ni greater, then you divide, then you multiply by lead time. The third possibility is where you are given demand that is less than the lead time. For example, uambiwe the daily demand ni hii, lakini lead time ni 5 days. So you need to multiply. So those are the 3 possibilities you can come across. I'm bringing all that so that in case you pata swali lingine iko na usianze ku divide or don't cram that every time you divide and multiply. No. So hii inakuja ngapi? 203, and the probability is 0.14. 0.14. Haya, huyo mwingine ni 1600. You divide by 30, multiplied by 4. Sasa hiyo inakuja 214, 214, and we have 0.30. So sasa, because time imeisha, utamalizia hiyo table, then tutaendelea from there. We will pick up from there in the next lesson. God willing. Thank you. Possibilities nimesema unaweza pewa exactly demand imetoshea lead time. So that one does not require working. Hiyo ingine unaweza pewa demand that is higher than lead time. Kama hii. So kama ni higher, you divide. The third one nimesema unaweza pewa ikiwa chini lower than the lead time. So you need to multiply. Is that okay, Boro? Is that okay? Good. So we call it a day at that juncture. We pick up from there next time.